Welcome to the walkthrough video for Loop 28 Duality series, the first in this epic series. Loop 28 is a collection of bold, layered, organic loops or drones. It's full of cinematic depth and unique, unexpected sounds. The idea behind Loop 28 and the Duality series is this idea of holding two opposing ideas or thoughts in the same space at the same time. It's an interesting space to coexist in as a human, and it's a fascinating place sonically. So Loop 28 is a collection of sounds gathered using a guitar and the Jamman Looper delay from Digitech. And we created these bold cinematic loops that we've mapped to keyboard, and they just sound absolutely incredible. And we've put together a whole bunch of presets and some amazing sounds. So let's listen to this a little bit, and I want to just show you some of the cool sounds that we've got, and then also how to build your own sound. So let's have a look in here quick. We've got Dark Drone. So just a collection of sort of dark sounding drones there, and then some lighter sounding drones. We've got some key sounds here. Obviously, these are all generated using the same guitar and pedals and processed in the same way. So quite a lot of variation in the sounds here. So I want to quickly walk you through creating your own sounds and just show you how quick and easy that is. So I'm going to do a global reset here of the sound effects and sort of global reset of the sound here. And then we're going to go ahead and choose a new sound. So let's mute layer B. And I want to create a low drone. Something cool down there. That's quite cool. I'm going to just add that sound over layer B. So let's just see what layer B's got. Okay, I want to use that sound. So let's go ahead and add, just manipulate that sound. So this first sample here, I'll slow that down, transpose that down an octave here. And just add an LFO pan onto that. A bit slow, sort of 1 bar. And I want to just add a little just adjustment to the speed there. Every half bar. So that's kind of a weird feel to that. That's pretty cool. I want to add a little bit of tremolo. Actually, no, I'm going to leave this one as it is. I'm going to leave this one as it is. And I'm going to move into the sound effects here. So let's go low. I want a big sound, so I'm going to go for diffusion. I really love this setting here. And obviously I want to add some reverb. So I'm going to go for cathedral, make it huge. And just tune the frequency a little bit, sort of more mid-rangey, slightly upper mids maybe. I'm going to add some saturation. Just to warm up the sound there. Speed the sample up a bit. So I'm going to add just a bit of adjustment here, just a bit of tune shadow to sample B. There we go. And I want a bit more bottom end for B. Good. Bring a bit of width there with stereo, and then I'm going to add a little bit of choral, just a bit of sort of ensemble vibes to it, add a few more voices. Then EQ on the master. And let's see if we add a bit of screamer. like it without. So that's cool. Let's listen to layer A here quickly. Just bring a bit of that in. It's those sort of clicks there. Drop the bass. I like a bit of that hiss. Very unsettling sound, that. And there we go. I really like that sound. That's very cool. I'm liking that. And I'm going to add that as a little preset, little personal preset for myself. And I'm going to just call it That's Too Dark, Man. That's Too Dark, Man. So that's now saved. And I can always find that in my presets there if I select something else. Just quickly walk you through the functionality and just give you a quick rundown of what it is and how it works. So your first page here is your performance page. At the top here, we have the sound effects or the effects master controls. We have a balance knob which balance the A and B layers, the two layers together. There's layer A and layer B balanced, and then a master volume control. Here in this very striking GUI, we've got our layer control. We can basically see what's happening, what layers we've selected. You can select layers up or the next layer and the previous layer like that. You can mute the layer at the same time. And then if you click on this glass icon, it takes you to the browser page where you can then select a new sample for layer A or a new sample for layer B. It's as simple as that. So that's the home window. Let's have a quick look at the sound window and see what that's all about. So the sound window basically allows us to manipulate each sample independently. So let's just turn the sound effects off quickly here, and we'll go just mix left quickly. So this is the leftmost sample here, and we can manipulate that in any way we choose. We can change the pan. We can change the volume of it. We can transpose it up, semitones, up to 2 octaves up and down. And then we can also transpose it or fine tune it at least within a semitone. We've also got speed control, which allows us to change the playback speed of the sample from really slow to really fast. And all the samples are looped, so if you just hold the key, obviously they'll just keep playing. And then we have ADSR here. We've got the curve, which is the sort of curve of the attack, the initial curve of the attack. And then we've got the attack. And then release. And then we can also create very short sounds. Even if I'm holding down, it just becomes a very short sound, which we can then, it's great. That's really great when we layer that in with the second layer. Over here we've got the LFOs, LFO1 and LFO2. These are assigned to these 4 controls here, and that just means we can change those settings as we please. For example, let me make this a little longer here. Okay, we can set that to pan, and then we choose the rate. Make it as fast as we want or as slow as we want. RT stands for retrigger, so basically the LFO will start from the same point every time you replay a note. And fade in will allow that effect or the intensity of the LFO to come in a little bit later. So it's really cool. So obviously you can set this LFO to whichever variable you want. You can then set LFO2 to a different variable. Let's say set that to volume. And change the waveform. And so you can manipulate each sample independently. You might want to affect both samples with the same setting. It's easy enough. You just click the link button, and then any changes you make over here will then be applied to both samples at the same time. So that's really easy to adjust those settings like that with the link button. You've got a reset button here, which resets the settings. If you've got the link button clicked, then the reset affects both samples. And then you can also select or browse through the samples for the independent layers here. At the same time, you can see exactly what sound you've got at any given time. Cool, let's jump into the sound effects panel quickly. So what we've got here basically is 6 effects in line in this chain. And then each channel has its independent EQ. And then there is a master EQ as a global EQ. So the effects here are screamer, we've got choral, saturation, delay, which is the replica delay from Contact. We've got stereo, which is quite nice just to add a bit of extra stereo field. And then we have the reverb, which is the convolution reverb, also from Contact. And this is really great. We can make the changes we want, the presets we want, and add all the effects we want and create the sound we want, which is awesome. We have a master bypass button here and an independent bypass button for each module. And then if you move your control down to 0, it will bypass that effect and vice versa here. You've also got a function that if you've bypassed everything and you try and power up that effect, a little warning comes up here saying you must just engage your master bypass button there. And then lastly, we have the preset menu button here, which allows you to save effects and load them as you please. And basically, there's 3 different options here for you. You can save an effects chain. So this is your entire effects chain here, and you can save the settings exactly as you want. So for example, here we can just do a little test. Test 1, I always like to put something like that in chain. So I know it's a chain, and I'll normally save it into the effects chain here. So let's call it test 1. So that's now saved this entire effects chain here. So I can make changes throughout this effects chain wherever I want. And if I wanted to recall that specific setting, I would go load chain, and as simple as that, our previous settings are back. And so that means we can apply this effects chain to any of the other combinations of samples that we have that we've chosen. If we've spent time setting up a cool chain, this is a really useful option here. Then we can also save a single effects module. Same thing, we've got a nice setting that we like, and we can save that single module, save it under single. I always like to label that, obviously it's a good idea to label that delay or however you want to name it. And you can call it whatever you want, delay best, saved. So you can always recall your favorite settings for your favorite effect, and that's really useful. The other option here is you can reset your single effect. Always go back to a factory reset there for that single effect, or you can do a global reset of all the plugins. Bang, and everything's returned back to a factory preset. Great when you're wanting to start from a fresh slate with your sounds. Quickly have a look at the browser button here. So here you'll be able to choose your samples. just another way really of browsing through the samples. You may have a sample that you favorited, which you can do using the star, and you'll very easily be able to find that again as soon as you just click on the button there. So A and B are your two layers, and obviously there's different selections for that. So it takes you straight to your selection that you've got, and you can click there, and your favorite comes up, and you can just select that. So that's just another option for you to choose. And there it is, Loop 28, a very unexpected sound. I use these sounds all the time on compositions, under string arrangements, all of that, just to add a bit of character and uneasiness sometimes. And it's just a beautiful plugin. I've used it tons in the testing, and it's sounding absolutely great. So that's the walkthrough for Loop 28. And I hope you get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And I hope you make a purchase and enjoy the plugin as much as we have.